Look at that. How about that for a test of the roof, huh? Had like 3 days of rain, of like crazy, not very Toronto-like rain. That's the other part of it. So far it's held up. I'm quite excited. My roof is actually it's actually holding up. All right, let me tidy myself up a bit here. What can I do? I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I can rotate this around. Oh, you'll see what I'm doing in a second. I've got this little Joby thing which I quite like. I'll use that to hold the camera in a second because I'm sick of holding it. What do I need to do? I need to go. Yeah. All right. I'm working it out. So yes, if I'm in like this to start, okay, then I turn it like this. Everyone will be happy. There you go. Look at that. I'm using a camera stand. What a crazy great idea. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that would work? Let me see if I can bring this down a little bit. Oh God, no, you don't want to see more of that great sweaty shirt, do you? Oof, terrible. All right, how's everyone? Who we got here? All right, first off, let me scrape off. Oh, look at that hair too. Look at that. There we go. That's better. Okay, now I look more like the Lord of Torture that I am. Oh God, my glasses are completely soaked too. All right, let's go back here. What we got here? Caliber Pictures. Hello. First up, Dramaja. Hello to you. Wayne Taylor. How are you, Dave? No, sorry. How are you, Wayne? I'm Dave. Thank you. He says Dave, buddy. I get confused. It's all that adrenaline, all those little dolphins running around my brain. Those are endorphins, by the way. Who else we got? God, I can't see. Can't see. You're a horse. Let me look at the magic box. It says that Noah Pioc. Hello, do you know? Is it Noe? Noe Pioc? Noe Pioc? Sounds like a cool name either way. Hello to you. Janelle. How are you, Janelle? Dayhawk Silver Star. Good morning, sire. I hope you're well. I am. I'm feeling a lot better today. Although, God, what an awful night. I mean, this is just me getting old, isn't it? I've got restless legs and I get this sort of like, almost like crawling skin thing at night, which is like, I just feel like I've got to move the whole time. It's kind of twitchy and stuff. And oh God, it's awful. And I think it's in my head. It just keeps me up. Karam Kefo, how are you? Good afternoon to you. It's actually morning for me. No, it's not actually. No, it's officially afternoon. It just hit noon. Matteo Clementel, hello to you. I answered to Rodney, but unfortunately I don't answer it as Rodney. I'm just not that smart. Drummer just says, hello from the Netherlands. Oh, God, I want to go there. Afternoon, Hewlett. How's the Burn&Learn? Says Blurty Dad. Good, yes. Did 43 minutes again today. That was 20 backwards and 23 forwards, and at a fairly good resistance. Not the highest it's been, but certainly up there. And again, more Unreal. Although what I've done is, because I've got to this stage in the Unreal blueprints where it's quite technical. Like I think I need to be sitting in front of the screen in order to really learn this stuff. Otherwise, it's just sort of washing over me, which it always has to some extent, you know. But I could get a sense of there were generalities to understand that I could get from these videos. The newer ones are very specific, so I feel like it's probably better if I sit down in front of a computer with that, or maybe just get to the point where I'm a little bit more fluent with it before I plow on with that. So I moved to some lighting videos. These are spectacular. I mean, just what you can do with this software is extraordinary. Let me see if I can find here's my iPad. It's my dog. It's my dog on the front cover. She's there. My family is trying to make me love her, but it doesn't work. It does not work. Forget it. Okay, so who is this? This is Josh. No, that's Josh Tunham was one who I was watching at the end there. Let's go back. So William Faucher. William Faucher or Faucher. Oh, lighting in Unreal Engine for beginners, extraordinary. It just gives you a great basis of how this stuff works. Little tricks that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise that make it look just beautiful. For all you know, this could be fake. None of this could be real. It's so hard to get this much sweat and sweaty hair, though. To be honest. Oh, by the way, people always ask about this gentleman over here. I'm going to make new eyes for him. I found this really cool 3D printed eye setup, which I'm dying to try out, and I feel like he could do with some nice mechanical eyes. Looks something like the blue ones. I don't know if you can see the blue right there, just beside Pac-Man there. It's that kind of it's the OBOT style stuff, but it's all sort of being streamlined, and I believe it can snap together, which would be extraordinary for if that worked. So what else we got here? Opalmus says, hello from the Netherlands, afternoon. How's the burn? Yeah, it's good. Meckberg, hello to you, Meckberg. Opalmus, I was delighted to see you and Rachel together. Oh, it was fun, wasn't it? Oh my God, she's just the loveliest woman, isn't she? And I'm so excited that she's now sort of like passing on her sort of her skills and her talent to people with these classes. I mean, I got the sense that she was a bit sort of sheepish about it, but at first, but we were talking about it, and even as we were talking it online with that you guys were seeing, there's just so much stuff you could learn from her. Like, I'm learning stuff from her, and I've been doing it for longer than she has. So yeah, and she's done all the classes. I never did classes, right? I was I just thought, oh, film TV, I'm just going to do that on my own. I don't regret that in any way, because I think in a way I got my classes through the friends that were making films, and not everyone has that kind of privilege or access. So I think I got my classes in a different way. But nowadays I feel like, wow, there's a lot of stuff. Just listening to her, just little things that I take for granted that I do in my auditions or at my work, and she's managed to sort of quantify them and to list them off and break them down into a sort of more granular way of approaching it, which I think for some people will be amazing. For a lot of people will be amazing. I mean, for me, I'm such a, my approach to acting is so, I don't know if it's normal or not, but it's very reactive. Like, it's basically learn the lines and then see what happens when you get there, type thing. I've always just found that trying to map out what you're going to do without having all the information is somewhat pointless. I mean, you go to do a scene in a bunker, and they go, oh, we don't have a bunker, we're doing it out in a field instead. All of a sudden, it changes the way you approach it. If you're too set in your bunker ways or whatever, you're gonna have different. You're gonna have a hard time adapting. So, anyways, what do we got? So, Tina, hello to you, Tina. I just saw a video that mentioned Cube, and they showed your scene, and I was thinking about you. Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm glad. What was the video about? Talking about Cube? What the ending was? Hi everyone. Hello, Lloyd. Mud pies. Oh yeah, it's always got to be food for me. Jessica Chablini, how are you? Hello from Norway, from Annette. There's a couple of people from Norway. You guys should get together, start like a Stargate or a workout thing. These, by the way, this is my Burn&Learn, by the way, which I always fail to tell people this. This is my Burn&Learn. This is my attempt to stay fit and alive long enough to raise my amazing son and wretched dog, and to enjoy my retirement years with my fabulous wife Jane. So in order to do that, I've got to get at least marginally fit. And I hate exercise. Hate everything about it. Absolutely freaking everything about exercise. There's very few things that I can drag myself to do, can inspire myself to do on any kind of regular basis. This torture device I have is an elliptical. It's an old elliptical that I bought, I think in the first year of Stargate, or no, maybe it was the last year of Stargate. Actually, it's probably the last year of Stargate, because I was freaking out because we were going to have a kid, and I thought, oh my God, I got to get fit. So I got this elliptical. It is the only thing that I've been able to do with any kind of regularity. And even that has literally years of time gathering dust at times as well. But it's the only thing that I can get myself to do, because what I'll do is I'll just hop on it, I was originally watching shows and stuff, and it felt like a gap in my day, if that makes sense. It felt like I was taking something away from my day. I know it's important. I gotta stay somewhat healthy. But it just felt like a waste of time. Then I got onto this. Then I got onto audiobooks, where I was listening to non-fiction audiobooks, because that tends to be what I listen to. I don't really like fiction audiobooks. The radio plays have never really worked for me. I'd rather see the movie or read the book, frankly. Then I discovered it. The holy grail of exercise for nerds is watching tutorials while you exercise. And all of a sudden, the time just zips by. Well, not entirely. The last 10 minutes of both forwards and backwards are hell. It's all hell. Let's face it, it's all hell. But the reality is that the time goes by faster. I come away feeling like I've exercised my brain along with this pathetic thing I call a body. And I get to show off my t-shirts as well. That's the other advantage of this stuff. Techbandits.org. Go to techbandits.org, go to the store, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Not just Tech Bandit stuff. I've done some Stargate stuff as well, so you might want to check that out. Along with my organic intelligence. I feel like I'm doing like a rapper or something. I got my organic intelligence line, yo, 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 it's all very cool. It's not cool at all. It's total for nerds. You and I are wearing the same t-shirt again. Fantastic, Chaos Surveyor. By the way, wedding went so well. Thanks to tips and tricks. Honeymoon in Edinburgh at the moment, just chilling at the moment. Well, you know what, Chaos Surveyor, I would say congratulations to you. Mainly on the wedding, of course, but on the t-shirt as well. And Edinburgh, I got to say, Edinburgh is a beautiful, beautiful place. And my wife went to university there, so it has a place in my heart. So enjoy. Whenever someone types ATM, I always think of an ATM. I can't. I immediately think bank machine. I'm just not that hip for this. These little, word things that they do on the kids do online. VCMD Propulsion, how the hell are you? Good morning. It is the inventor. Indeed it is. How the hell are you? Upsilon says hello to you. Casually Sandra, good morning, afternoon. Atlantis Rising was 20 years ago today. Well, I guess it was released 20 years ago today. We would have shot it the year before, I guess, but wow. So that treadmill's really old. That elliptical's really old. Not like me. 20 years ago. Holy moly, says Jessica Ciablini, and she is right. Holy moly. Wow. I'm sipping my coffee from my new favorite mug. It's my Comic-Con from Prague. God, I try not to play favorites, but my God, that Prague convention, I freaking love that. I love that place. I love the people. I love everything about it. Amazing place. All right, well, happy 20th Atlantis Rising to you. I am no longer really on social media. I suppose this is a type of social media, but I've stopped using Twitter, especially since the elections started. So I am last to the news, but I like to think that the news, by the time it gets to me, has had a chance to be verified and stuff. My poor son hates it. I mean, he came running in with a photo of Trump having just been shot at, and I was like, well, that's got to be fake. Where did you get it from? And it was from some obscure little, website channel. I was like, well, Baz, it's really important to check your sources. And so I sat down, and of course, it was real. And he's like, well, there you go, Dad. I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. I said, the problem is that, when TMZ releases the footage of the shooter, dead on the roof, they don't have to, they feel no compulsion to make sure it's real. Like, you know what I mean? News isn't just about getting it out as fast as possible. It's about getting the whole picture. There's this wonderful ad. I used to go to these things. I don't know if they still do them or not. There used to be a festival of ads, of international ads from around the world. And there's this beautiful one done by, I think, one of the papers in England. And it has a picture of a woman sort of clutching her purse, and she's walking down the street, and she sort of turns, and she sees this like young yobbo running at her like, ah! And and then it cuts back to her going like, oh no, and she grabs her purse, and the guy comes running at her, and he pushes her out of the way just as a piano falls. And the point that they were making, which I thought was so clever, was if you just see a thuggish looking man running at a woman with a purse, you have a very different story than if you see a young hero running to save someone from a falling piano or whatever it was. I don't know if it was a piano or not, but that's getting mixed up with Laurel and Hardy. But I feel like what I was finding on a lot of the social media stuff is I was getting the reflexive response, the instant response to things happening around the world without getting the full story. And I think the problem with that is it eats you up, and you get into the doom scrolling and stuff. And especially now, I literally don't know what social media thinks of this whole shooting thing. I've listened to the BBC about the Republican convention, and the rest of it. But it's just, I mean, I was trying to explain to my father, to my son, how important this moment was in history. You know, there's been an assassination attempt on a previous president. No matter what you think of him, you know, that is really disturbing. And I really hope that. I mean, I worry, I guess, that social media is going to tear us apart over this stuff. You know, and in doing so myself as well. So I like I say, I'm kind of avoiding Twitter and Facebooks and the like. I will pop on to sort of post things now and again. I feel a bit hypocritical because I'm like, well, I like to put my news out there, but you know, everyone else says I'm not interested in. I am interested in. I don't know how to filter it myself in a way that's useful for me. I find it just drags me down. And I like to think that instead of spending a lot of time on the surface level of all of these things and being distracted by things that I wasn't aware of before, I like to think that I'm spending a little bit more time getting a more deep understanding of things by doing a bit more reading and stuff. So, you know, and tutorials, lots of tutorials. So there's that. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I was talking to an actor the other day. It's pretty famous. I mean, she was on a big show, and she credits that with getting her, you know, 5-6 million followers, or whatever it is, on Instagram. And she was saying that I said, do we have to do it? Like, I mean, is it compulsory for actors? And she said, yeah, I think it is. I really do think it is. So I thought that was interesting, and a bit worrying because, you know, I have good numbers on Twitter, but I don't believe in them. I don't believe I shouldn't say good numbers. I have numbers on Twitter, but I don't believe the numbers. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't believe there's 100,000 people out there listening. I think there's an awful lot of bots and such. So, you know, and I'm trying to figure out how to purge them would be problematic. And anyways, and also, again, if the industry wants numbers, you know, well then fine, let them look at the numbers. But it does make me concerned a bit. Like I would much rather have like a following on YouTube or Twitter. I don't know, on Twitch. I don't know why exactly that's different. I mean, YouTube can be terrible too for sucking you into things you don't really need to know. But at the same time, I feel like they're generally a little bit more in depth for me, the stuff that I'm looking at than what I was finding on Twitter. And the good stuff on Twitter is great. It's fantastic. But I was struggling more and more to find it, which is sad because I feel like I had a clubhouse, and I don't feel like I've got that anymore, and I do feel pretty detached. So, you know, there's people going, "What the hell? You don't know about this?" I'm like, nope. I don't. Find out if it's true or not. Anyways, the shield is collapsing. Failsafe activated. The whole city rises up. I love this scene so much. Epsilon is really enjoying themselves. Oh my God. Oh, come on. It's going good. Shaking Milk 4. How you doing? Still shaking? Daniel RBB. Cube was great. Yeah, Cube was fun. Video that mentioned Cube was about architecture. Can architecture imprison your mind? Ooh, that is a really cool. See? YouTube. That's fascinating, Dramaja. I'll have to look that one up. Any plans for dogs' lunch or dinner? Loved breakfast. Oh, Wendy, yeah, I'd love to. You know, I just don't have a Stargate crew or Stargate income to pay for it right now. So, I mean, maybe one day. I've been looking at it, toying with it, maybe as a series. I was so in love with Newfoundland that I thought, well, maybe we could do something out there, you know, because that's talking about fish out of water. I mean, if my sister and I were stuck out there, you know, I say stuck because I love it. I don't mean stuck. I absolutely adore it out there. And we've got friends out there who make stuff. So maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something we could do there. I wondered about maybe coming in on a friend's show, and when they wrap for the season or whatever, maybe we could pop in and use their sets or something like that, and just write something that works for that. But who knows? I don't know. There's also there's a couple other, weirdly, for a guy who just wants to get out of the film industry, I've had a lot of sort of writing ideas recently too. So I found myself sort of sitting down and jotting things down the way I didn't used to. I wonder if that's got something to do with social media. I'm not getting that flood of information. Maybe it's translating to stuff. I'm also watching a great show right now, which is very old, and the Brits are going to laugh at me for how long it's taken me to get to it. But Top Boy is just magnificent. It's like a tour de force of like acting and filmmaking and storytelling, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what the second season is going to be like, but I'm enjoying certainly enjoying I really enjoyed the first season, and the characters are just, oh my god, and it's just this casual evil of these kids getting sucked into this stuff, and oh god, it's awful. It's just awful because you end up like liking these characters who are just horrible. Some of them, like, just absolutely freaking awful, and yet you still find yourself sort of rooting for them in a way, and there's this whole sort of, this feeling of I feel like it's just capturing this whole world in London that I didn't even know existed. So for me, it's almost like a science fiction. I wish it was a science fiction. Unfortunately, it's science fact, or I should say societal fact. Probably a better way of putting it. Anyway, so there you go. A couple of recommends for you. Iron Man Veronica says, a few days ago you said that Rod, Parallel Universe, was your favorite role. How did you like the nearly ascended Rodney? He was very kind and even smarter. It's true. Yeah, I think the Rodney would be more jealous of the ascended Rodney. Yeah, Rod was just fun because it was just such a different character. Getting to play someone who was, I kept thinking of him like the Fonz, you know what I mean? Like from Happy Days. I think that was the reason why I liked it so much. Ascending McKay was fantastic as well. It was a lot of fun to play, and you get to hug Jason Momoa, stuff like that. Even a man enjoys that. I should say maybe even a straight male enjoys that. It was fun. But as I say, there's something nice about Rodney and Rod was because there's that dynamic between the two characters. And I was joking about it a bit too, because it's the idea. Who's your favorite co-star? Me. Get to say that. Who gets to say that? Hi, David. How are your Unreal experiences going? Did you do some progress? Gervais, yeah, I mean, a little bit. As I say, I've been working on the lighting stuff now. I've got to. I should get my tower defense finished. I've struggled with a few things there. In fact, I've had some offers to help, so I may call upon them because there's something that's I'm stuck on something. I don't know exactly what's going wrong, but my scene is not working the way it's supposed to. And I've checked all the settings. I'm not sure what it is. It's possible it's because I'm working on a Mac, not a PC. So maybe I'll switch it over to the PC and have a look at it on that. See if that makes it any better. Send us to see from time to time on these streams. Amazing job on preserving with exercise despite it being difficult. Super relatable. And hello from Belgium. Yakina, thank you very, very much. Has anyone? By the way, speaking of Belgium, has anyone seen The Hammer? Where's Cal? Have we seen Cal at all? I miss my Cal. She's not really a big YouTube fan, I don't think. I think she prefers her Twitch. I'd like to stream to both at the same time, but that's difficult I don't think you can do that from your phone. Well, maybe you can. I don't know. If someone can tell me, if someone's got an idea on how to do that, let me know. I know you can do it from a PC, and I know there's all sorts of services and stuff, and even Streamlabs will let you send to YouTube and to what's it called, Twitch, like we did with Rachel the other day. That worked out great, actually. But it'd be nice if you could just do it from the phone. This is just so easy, and that's the whole point of the Burn&Learns, is to make this like brain dead easy for this brain dead actor. It's just like exercise. I think it's just got to be so simple. And this is my reward after I've done my time on the torture device. I listen to the great courses lectures when exercising. Ooh, that's good. I listened to some great ones of those. Oh my God, the biology one was fantastic. No, it was microbiology, I believe it was. And the science of life. Oh God, fantastic stuff. Yes, absolutely, completely with you that. The great courses are spectacular. They're basically just they're university lectures, and you can just listen to them. It's a bit like being able to sort of drop in and check out a university course, but you're there every week. It's fantastic. I watch Doctor Who while doing chores to make it go faster. Yeah, see, Psycho Poet. I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that. I get the entertainment factor. I am so uptight. I am so obsessively, desperate to focus that I won't let myself do that. I feel like to some extent I won't let myself. The only enjoyable enjoyable is the wrong word, because I love learning. Like I that is my entertainment to some extent, I suppose. And maybe some of the stuff is loosely educational rather than fully educational. But I will not let myself watch shows while on the elliptical. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's got to be something more learning for me. And the only sort of fun stuff I'll watch, I mean, like to sort of turn the brain off, is stuff that I'll watch with the family. At night, or soccer games, that kind of stuff. So even soccer games, I find you got to think a bit. David, I'm about to go to the gym as well. Oh, fantastic. In a maintenance mode since I'm 6 months pregnant. Oh, wow. Congratulations. But yeah, trying to keep in shape. Well done, Dana, and congratulations. Kids, they grow. What else can I say? Going to the gym. Oh, good for you. I can't do the gym. I just freaking hate it. I don't like exercising around people. I don't like being around people, to be honest. And I got to say, it's very, touch wood. Rushed you. So far, my rubber roof has held up. I took some shots, by the way, so I'll try to cut them together into a silly montage for you. But I did the roof, the corner of the roof. I found out that it's not just the corner of the roof. It really is the whole roof. Like, they weren't kidding when they said the whole roof's got to be replaced. But I think what I might be able to do is replace patches as I go, and we might get a couple of years out of it. We'll see. I'm fingers crossed on that. I've got to say, it was murderous work. Like, I've never felt so bone tired as I did after getting off that roof every day for like 3 days. I tore up the section of the roof that was leaking. I carefully pulled out some of the flashing. I replaced the wood. I took way too long to do that. Looking back on it, I should have just cut a straight square, slapped it down, and cut it off. I was trying to use wood that I had around. I shouldn't do that next time. And then I put on this waterproof coat stuff that, touch wood, is holding up, and it has been horrendous. Now, look, let me put it this way: it's working a lot better than the tarp that I had up. So, and there seems to be less water bouncing off the door of the garage as well. So I'm hoping that holds up. And I've only put like 2 coats on. I want to put like another at least one more layer on. Before I can sort of relax a bit. And I've started doing sort of little bits on the edges as well. So, but the problem, of course, is that the roof, there's so much buildup of crap on the roof. I thought it was a big, thick roof. No, it's a roof with about, 20 years of dirt and sand and stuff built up and moss and things. So you just scrape it off, find the weak spot, cut out the weak spot, put in the wood, weatherproof the crap out of it with this plasticky, rubbery stuff, and then keep your fingers crossed. So that's what I'm doing right now with it, and I gotta say, it's kind of fun. I'm kind of enjoying. Maybe there will be a McKay roofing. Oh, that was the shirt I was going to do, wasn't it? I was going to do a McKay roofing shirt to try to raise funds to raise a roof. And I'm really looking forward. I'm hoping to catch up with Gimpy G today as well, once he's up and at him, if he's not here already. Good day to you, Mark Webb. Pleasure. Annette, you're awesome. I know. Thank you. Plus McKay's so good. Oh, I'm awesome. And McKay. Thank you very much, Annette. Have had Stargate on DVD for years now and never getting tired of watching it. Like, I know all of you guys, and Vegas episode 2, cool. I know, the Vegas episode was very cool, wasn't it? I have the restless legs and so lucky my husband sleeps like a rock. Oh, Ananda Bricker, my poor wife, I don't know how she puts up with it, because I was up all night last night. It was like crazy. Everybody gets a knee-jerk reaction now. Nobody wants to research before forming an opinion. Yeah, I mean, I think we all have knee-jerk reactions, right? It's just that now we can film them. You know what I mean? Like, I can have the completely wrong response to something off the bat, but if it's if it's live and you're filming yourself doing it, then I think you open yourself up to ridicule, which is what I'm doing now. But yeah, it is difficult. Also, I think people research. I almost feel like people research for reasons why they're right. You know what I mean? I think the scientific method is not really applied to world news as much as I'd like it to be. There's bias issues, I know, but I do like the BBC News. I find they're pretty good. I know to some people that's a certain type of media, but I feel like they back up their claims pretty well. Not a huge fan of the CBC, I've got to say. That's the Canadian Broadcasting. I don't understand what they focus on and why they focus on stuff. I mean, they definitely have some wonderful newscasters and stuff, and I will listen to their news. I sort of prefer the BBC because I feel like it's more of a worldview. Canada, it just seems very, I don't know, it seems kind of local and stuff. It's weird. I mean, it is a local news, I suppose, to some extent, in that it is a Canadian news. But I just feel like Canada should be more interested in what's going on outside as well, right? Because it's going to have a huge effect on us. John D. Brewer, Zeno76, how are you? Just finished a complete rewatch of the series. It's always so heartbreaking when I reach the end. Ugh, God, you and me both, Bounders. The end. Ugh, why did it end? We could still be doing it. Can you imagine if in 20 years on we'd still be doing it? Oh, man, I'd be grumpy. Already grumpy. Yes, avoid Twitter at all costs for the time being. Just a cesspool of hate. Oh, is it really blurted out? Is it that bad? Yikes. I believe we are living in special exciting times where true is weirder than fiction, awakening, etc. Have had a lot of special experiences myself over the years. I just love it. Real encounters. Yeah, I mean, it is certainly exciting times. It is definitely exciting times as the old curse goes. We live in exciting times. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to manage those exciting times myself, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what much good I'm doing, and that my son watches all this stuff anyways. And I think my wife actually as well, for that matter. But I just, for myself, I don't know. Maybe it's an anxiety thing, or I don't know what the deal is. But I just found I start spinning on stuff that I probably shouldn't. You were such an inspiration to me when I was younger. My dad was already super smart. I never became your character, but I did pick up a few quirks. VCMD propulsion. Oh no, don't do the quirks. Don't get the quirks. Get the brains. I'm sure if your dad was super smart, I'm sure much of it is rubbed off on you. By the sound of it, Mr. Inventor, you are well on your way. Now, I don't believe much media now due to AI. It's becoming like nothing is real. I feel like Teal'c and Avatar. It's just the same thing over and over again. The news is difficult. There is a tsunami of misinformation, and AI is very, very good at creating that stuff. I would argue, though, that humans are as well. I mean, we can spit out bullshit, faster than we can say it. If you're making up stuff, it takes seconds in order to do proper in-depth analysis and understanding and confirmation and stuff. You have to take time, and so there's always going to be more nonsense out there than there is good stuff, because nonsense is easy, and good real news is hard. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think we're going to get to a point where we're just going to be paying for content, because you'll pay for the content that's worth having. I do worry that it silos us a bit, but I think we're going to have to. Like, what else do we do here? Like, I think you're going to have to, you're paying for someone to do the analysis and to wade through the crap for you, and you pay them to give you a balanced view. I want to know. I don't want to ignore and decry and deride and mock Republicans, or these current Republicans. I want to know what's going on. I don't care what people think about each side of the debate. I just want to know as close to the truth as is possible, really. And I think everyone's craving that to some extent, and I would pay for that. I feel a bit betrayed by the New York Times, because I felt that the New York Times we paid for because we thought that's what we were getting. This kind of we felt it was a more balanced approach to the world. I mean, we knew it was always a bit of a left lean, but we felt that at least it may be left leaning, but it was at least attempting to give us a sort of a balanced view. And then when Trump first got in, I was like, well, what? What's going on here? Like, I mean, the New York Times has been telling me for the entire year that this guy's an idiot, that he's not, nothing's going to happen, and what a joke, and this kind of stuff. It felt to me like they underestimated him, and they never, in my mind, covered him like an actual candidate. And until he was in power, and even then, it was just all about sort of outraged at what he was doing and stuff. So I feel like, I also don't want someone who's just going to be a sycophant about whoever's in power or whatever as well. So it's trying to find that balance, and I'd love to hear where where everyone else is getting their news from, because if there's other suggestions out there, it'd be good to know. Forgot to mention about the special times, like you said, it is hard and confusing and so on, and like we all must face our worst fears and going through the bad. Like world reflects before better times. Well, what do they say? There's like someone was telling me about this, like this system of, God, who was it? Who was it who was telling me about this? About how the world goes through these cycles, and that basically we are coming out of a we're at the bottom end right now, and we will move into a time of enlightenment or whatever. I don't mean in a spacey kind of way. I mean, I just think sort of cyclically that's the way our society has sort of worked in the past. There's some interesting takes on that. I don't know if it's valid or not, but it's I like the hope. I like the hope there. The world by the ocean tied to a millstone. The world by the ocean tied to a millstone. Wow, I like that. I like that. What's that from? CBC did recently cover the forgotten civil war and humanitarian crisis in Sudan. Yeah, William. They do. Look, all of these organizations, they do good stuff. I'm not saying I'm not writing them off entirely. I'm just finding that, and maybe it's just like morning news. I mean, how it tends to be kind of trivial, anyways. But yeah, and we watch the National, so we'll often watch the National for our news, and they do have some good. Again, the in-depth stories aren't the problem. That's not the problem for me. The problem is how the news is presented as it comes up. I mean, the stories that go in depth, I think, are great in most of these channels because they've done the work, right? My concern is, what news is held back, what news is presented, how is the news presented. I thought it was very strange. There was a very strange response to the Trump shooting. Very, very strange, where I felt like, I understood the BBC covered it pretty well, because the BBC were like, this has happened. We don't know if it's an assassination attempt. We don't know if it's this. We don't know if it's that. They were to the point where you're like, oh, for God's sake, just. But I understood it, because they're, from a journalistic integrity standpoint, they're like, we cannot confirm or deny any of this stuff. We can just tell you what we're seeing, what we're hearing, and until things are confirmed, they weren't gonna say anything. So I respect that completely. One of the things I do miss about like this, I'd be curious to know what kind of conspiracy theories there are out there. But again, I don't want to delve into the Twitter sphere of that, because just how this is going to be spun one way or the other is really interesting to me. I heard Trump bringing in God the other day, where only God could have saved him and stuff. And I'm not a believer in God. I am very much an atheist, and I really resent the combination of politics and God, which all of these American politicians invoke. They all invoke that, because I think it's more likely for, it's more likely that God knows, more likely that a Muslim would get voted into the White House than an atheist. You know what I mean? It's such a weirdly Christian or God-centric approach to politics, and as I'm an American as well. Like, I vote in these elections. I have a stake in this. I'm very much interested in this, but I just think it's so bizarre to me how tied American politics is to religion. I mean, look, we all have it. I mean, Canada is. I mean, freaking the Roman Catholic Church here. They sort of call it French, basically, because it's supporting the French and their way of life and stuff. But the reality is, the church has just weaseled their way in there and get money from the government for schooling and for so-called educating our children. Their education is fantastic, except for the fact that they're also teaching about God and celibacy and all sorts of sort of nonsense stuff that I have absolutely no interest in, because I like the science side of it, if that makes sense. That said, I've got very good friends who are I've got good friends who are Catholics even. So it's not, again, I don't want to shut down the discussion. It really kind of creeps me out that in this day and age we're still naming this ridiculous fairy tale as a source of as a, as a political tool. It really worries me. Anyways, I'm sure that's, and I obviously, well, here's the thing. Will I offend? I will offend Christians by saying that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I think, I grew up with all of those learnings. I grew up going to school and going to chapel and learning Bible stories and all this kind of stuff. As a work of fiction, as a work of literature, it's fascinating. I think it's a great thing to understand, and it's the basis of a lot of stories. But as a belief system, as a system of laws, as a system, it's so flawed and so wrong in many ways, and so patriarchal and so, just so convenient for those in power, basically, that I find it really, I feel like, if you want religion, I feel like it's a personal thing. Like I don't, the idea of people getting together to worship the same imaginary creature just worries me, and I'm not saying you don't have to believe in anything. Believe in whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I just don't like these organizations that seem to want to manipulate things, because by bringing these beliefs into the real world and trying to use them to sway politics and politicians and stuff, and undo the rights of people. It drives me freaking nuts. Anyways, there's that. There you go. Yeah, like when did was Republican always like Christian? Was that always like a thing? I always thought of like, yeah, I guess, well, maybe it is. I suppose it is. I suppose they're seen as conservative values, and I suppose Christianity is seen as a conservative value, I suppose. I don't know. Anyways. All right, I really truly don't mind what others believe. It's when they insist that I have to follow their beliefs that I get annoyed. Yeah, I mean, hallowed are the Ori. You tell us, Adonai. But that's it. I mean, someone made up a really cool idea. You know what I mean? Like, let's just go with that. Gaudry agreed the split between church and political power is very clear in France. I don't think we could see us go back to have churches weigh in like the U.S. seems to do in some capacity. Yeah, but there's the other problem with Seabass is how do you, so in France, like, how do you deal with, you guys got that whole right wing scare the other day. I mean, I don't know what's called right wing or not, whatever the deal is, where they were, there were people who were saying that, France has got to become French again, whatever that means. And, how do you balance, this is something I always struggle with. I do not know the answer to this. I'm putting this out here. Is how do you respect someone and their religion when you don't believe in that religion, right? Like I think, I think my mom still goes to church. I'm like, I obviously I'm not going to mock her about it, but I don't respect it as a choice because it doesn't seem like a sensible choice to me. Like if someone, on a bus started ranting about someone in the sky, we would, call the police or a social worker or something to get them help. Why is this sort of collected, commercialized version of it okay? So how do you respect someone's religion when you don't respect the basic the root of the whole thing? I gotta talk to Lance about this because Lance has got some interesting insights on that. But because I'm not saying I'm gonna run around. I don't think we should go running around ripping hijabs off people's heads and telling them they, what they can and can't do. But I also don't think for respect or rights, if there are religious beliefs that are counter to human rights and dignity and equality and just general societal good, then I don't think we can respect those just because that's a religious belief. And I'm not picking out any one particular religion. They all have these stupid, freaking, mostly patriarchal, homophobic, sexist, ableist, religious, ridiculous what do they call it? Ridiculous belief systems that are so antiquated. Like, why are we quoting books that were may or may not have been written when they were by may or may not be who they say they were? It's bizarre to me. Anyways, all right. Exams in religious schools must be so easy. Every answer is God did it. Yeah, and they can put everything in their perspective, and it's God's will. I mean, that's it. Like every freaking war that's fought is God's war, right? I mean, to this day, people still bring God into it as well. It is a rallying cry, both for good and for evil, I'm afraid, so especially when it carries some harmful ideas towards women and minority groups. I know someone like me wouldn't do too well in red states over there, and I'm concerned for the U.S. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem too, isn't it? I mean, again, if you're working off documents that are thousands of years old, then they're not going to keep up with the times. I'm not advocating anarchy, but I think we've got to be sensible, and we've got to apply common sense and rules of law to this stuff. And I really thought religion would be dead by now. I really did. I didn't think it would have an insurgence, that there would be there'd be a real Freudian slip. That there would be such a surge in religious beliefs and this schism between people, and I think a big part of that is going to be social media. Another huge part of it, I think, is going to be nation state actors trying to pull us apart, which is very easy to do, because a divided state is an easily conquered state. I mean, that is as old as God knows what, is the art of war, probably. But I don't think that's me being conspiratorial, conspiracy theory. I think it's a legitimate concern here. Is that there are very few people, very few superpowers out there that want us to get along. Because if we get along and we're all moving in the same direction, we are basically an unstoppable force. And I say that about both Canadians and Americans, or anybody for that matter. I mean, if you're united in a common, towards a common good, I think we're unstoppable. But right now, I just feel like we're just torn asunder by just freaking insanity. Like it's freaking insane what people believe. And what people believe in. I just wish, can you worship the scientific? Can I start a church of the scientific method, or you know what I mean? Like, is there something we could do? How do I become? That's what I'm saying. How do I become a religious dictator? That's what it comes down to. I'm just jealous. I'm jealous of all these people. Why can't I be running things? Anyways, all right, I'm babbling on. I'm probably not making much sense anymore at this point. I believe part of the issue is that we are facing a crisis in our educational system. People who are well educated can make better decisions. Yes, I agree. Yeah, Dayhawk Silver Star, absolutely. Look, that is my Tech Bandits thing to a T. Tech Bandits, is trying to instill a love of science, to maintain that level of curiosity that kids come into school with, rather than having it crushed out of them by, in many cases, government systems. I mean, again, not to be, I don't want to go all sort of like, Unabomber on you here, but, I do worry when a government runs the educational system, as it should be funding it, but it shouldn't be running it. I really, really worry that basically the education changes depending on who's in power here. And it's, and I think the kids are losing out in a big regard to that. But yeah, education, it's absolutely true. If you had an educated world, we would make educated decisions. I think that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yeah, how do we change it? I don't know. I'm trying my own little way, in my own little tiny way. I was actually talking to the woman who runs the community center, so I'm gonna pop in and see her and sort out when I can do some live tech banditry there, because I'm somewhat reticent to go back to the streaming stuff, because frankly, I think that I'm not sure kids should be sitting around talking online, like this. I think that, and I also think that, what I tell them is probably not a huge amount of interest or influence at this point, especially online. And I get nervous because I'm also just worried about, I don't want them to step. I don't want to be streaming and having people step out of line and maybe say, or I want them to be able to do whatever they want and say whatever they want. And I think that's very difficult online. It was necessary during the pandemic, I think, but I'm not sure that it's the right way to approach things now. So I really wanted to get back into the really real world, man, and get back into the community center and actually and talk to some kids in person and have them roll their eyes at the crazy old man, and then maybe get some joy out of some escape room stuff and some science stuff. So oh, look at that! As I say that, the sun is coming out. It's beginning to brighten up. Look at that! It's interesting times, but we're going to change that. Anyways, look, I like I say, I don't want to. It's such a soapbox, isn't it? But this is. I apologize. You are all being sucked into into the sort of the joy that I get from doing these. I get to hop off the elliptical, sip some coffee when I'm not talking, and pontificate about stuff. And I appreciate people listening. I'm amazed that people are here to listen, to be honest. I've been deconstructing on my beliefs, and the hate Christians inflict on people who don't believe like them is disgusting. Not all who we are supposed to be. Yeah, I mean, I think there are underlying tenets to all of these religions, which I think are good. Once they get institutionalized, and once they become sort of political, once the political machinations begin, I feel like they get twisted. It's like any organization. It's, you know what it is? It's like a corporation. You start as a cool small little startup, and you have a few real believers there who'll take a leap of faith for you and help make it happen. And the company builds and builds and builds. And then unless you know how to manage it, it fails. And in the case of these big religions, they haven't failed. They've grown. And they've grown because they've adapted to the political environment, to the world around them, or they forced the world around them to bend to their will. And I think, again, we're all guilty of that. I think that is a Christian thing, Islamic, Jewish. There's all. I mean, it's all of these religions have real problems, and I'm not saying that they're all going to be solved by people not believing in God. I just think that we need to, or I need to figure out how to make that work in my head. I can't, I don't understand a belief in God. I don't understand it. I just cannot get my head around it. It drives me absolutely nuts. It just seems so obviously wrong to me. But there are people who I respect, people who are very, very smart, smarter than I am, who believe in this stuff, or in many different ways, from many different sort of religions and perspectives and stuff. I just don't understand it. I just don't. I don't get it. Like I don't. Yeah, it's an absolute mystery to me. Tom Nicholas has some great videos on this type of stuff. Definitely check him out. Okay, thank you, Bitbanger. I'll have a look. Telephone. It's lovely to see you're still enjoying talking to your audience a few years later. I feel like some people end up taking this for granted. I always enjoy coming back here to everyone here. Seabass. Thanks very much, man. It's good to see you. All right. I so wish you'd consider being a part of my devices. It would be so cool. I'm not sure how much you understand about physics and engineering, but still interesting stuff. It sounds amazing. It's all over my head, VMCD propulsion, I'm afraid. I mean, I have to spend some more time with it, but VCMD propulsion has got some pretty amazing stuff in the works. I wish, as I say, I wish I understood it more. People look for hope wherever they can find it. Yeah. A lot of religious texts are the world's oldest games of telephone. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I've been deconstructing my. Yeah, I mean, it's and it's not just Christians. I mean, it's like, I think we all are big on inflicting our views on people, myself included. This is the other thing is I think people's ideas change, right? People's perspectives on things change. This conversation 40 years ago would be very, very different, and I would not like the stuff that I was saying 40 years ago, I guarantee you. And who knows, another 40 years, well, I'll be gone. But in another, in 10 years time, 20 years time, what will I think of what I'm saying now? I don't know, but I think it's important for people to be able to change as well. You're not a hypocrite for realizing you were wrong. You know what I mean? And you're not, and I also think it's important not to, not to dismiss people because they were wrong. I mean, that is talk about the scientific method. It's all about you learn something, you learn that this isn't how it works. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point. The whole point of this is to keep that curiosity going, and keep people excited and interested in it. And I think that that the critical thinking approach to stuff, it's something else that I think is just so important, that I think is getting lost in this need to quote unquote protect children in the schools. I feel like we've just completely we've just got rid of the art of discourse. I mean, I really worry that there's whole topics that no one will talk about because they might be triggering or something. I mean, you can't talk about the Holocaust. You can't talk about Nazi Germany and stuff because people might be upset by it. Of course they're freaking upset by it. It's freaking evil. I mean, but you got to know about it in order to see it happening again. I mean, look at history. For God's sake, if we start ignoring the history that we've had, we're doomed to repeat it. Oh God. All right, don't get me started. All right, this should be a burn and rant, or just a rant and rant. Anyways, very much hoping to go have a chat with Gimpy G today. So, see how he's doing. God, I've got all these war wounds from. Look at these. From working on the roof, oh yeah, tearing it up. There's a lot of nails, it turns out. Luckily, my tetanus is up to date. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening to me babbling on. I apologize. I've gone on a complete ranty tirades. Not what I meant to do. I meant to just go, yeah, I exercised. Aren't I great? And sell some t-shirts. Hello, t-shirts. Look at them. T-shirts. So techbandits.org. Check out the shop. Get yourself a t-shirt. All helps. And thank you for your lovely comments on the chat with Rachel. God, isn't she amazing? I just freaking out. Just adore her. I can't wait for her to come back to Toronto if she does. I hope she goes back to Toronto. And maybe we could do some more of those. Like I said to her on the video, at the end of the video, I think I mentioned it, that I'd love to do some scene study stuff with her. Like have her, if she's got, kids who are taking acting classes, why don't we, sit them down and shoot a little scene. Get them used to being on camera, and maybe even give them something that they can use for the demo reel as well. It'd be kind of a fun acting bandits thing to do as well. So that's it. So what do we got? What do we got out of this? Unreal lighting, amazing. Check it out. One of the suggestions the guy said, which I liked, was use actual lights. Like grab an iPhone with the light on the iPhone, and just try it out on different objects to see how it works. But what's lovely about Unreal Engine, certainly the new one, is that with the technology they've got, you can basically do that in the app itself. So you've got this real-time lighting, which is great to look at. And he just has a few little tricks, mainly, things like this whole nanite technology, so nanite technology basically is a way of speeding up the processing of how the light moves, and it basically breaks down all of the objects into little tiny bits that it does its magic on and figures out where the light should go, and you can access that, but it has a few little foibles that need to be figured out, and that's something that we playing with the Unreal Engine can do. So some fun stuff there. I hate religion. As much as I hate exercise, maybe even more. And I'm struggling to try to find how one respects the rights and beliefs of people who do believe in these, what I believe are, what I know to be imaginary or contrived creatures. Ooh, backing up. They're taking their time, though. That's good. If we hear a sudden clunk, you'll know it just hit the garage. Well, on these dulcet tones, the dulcet tones of the backing up truck, I will say, be brave, be kind, be brilliant, and I guess be fit too. Well, fit's maybe the wrong word, but at least give it a go. That's what I'm trying. Cheerio and huzzah! Talk to y'all later. Bye. Thanks very much. Cheers.